Never still alright.
Well, this is Cardo's Media, and yeah, don't blame the messenger. Yeah.
Yo, you don't know, this is Trilogy, straight out of Dominica, and you're tuned in to Cardo's Media. Don't blame the messenger. Boom!
Good night. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm missing one more person for this panel, you know. I really wanted him to be here, you know. The young Senator Paris there, but he kind of busy tonight. But yeah, we're going to catch him one of them days, man. How everybody doing, though?
Cool.
All right. So we have a long time guy we harassing all the time to come on. We have Keskim tonight. We have Clint tonight. We have Vito and myself. So, is that the proper way in which you do it in English now? Yourself is always last, right?
Yeah. Yourself always last.
I at least I learned something in school. So yeah, tonight's live. I want to give out some information. So to the people who are gonna be looking at the live, be it you're looking at it tonight, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, whatever time of day you're gonna be looking at this, just stay tuned for information. Receive the information and do with it what you like. Some of this information is opinion based, so do not think of it as factual. Please do your own research and just don't blame the messenger. We just put in the information out there as it comes to us, and then we give out our opinion. That is my opening statement for tonight's live. I would first thing I want to discuss, or first thing I want to touch on, is election in the Caribbean. Elections. We have Grenada, St. Vincent election, which is for the 21st of November. And then now, recently announced, we have St. Lucia's elections for December 1st. Is an election looming for Dominica in the near future? That is the question. Is there an election looming for Dominica in the upcoming future here? Is it going to be called in December? Is it going to be called in January? What are your thoughts, guys?
I mean, at the end of the day, it was supposed to be May, right? When PM said he was gonna call it things May, so any day now. I mean,
Any day.
It's overdue now based on what he said he was going to do. So it's any day. But you know, Clint probably will have the info there for us.
So, Clint, what you saying? Elections soon, man.
Well, the behavior on the ground, it looks like that. Or, I always say, the agitation on the ground. If you listen to the rhetoric, you know, if you listen to some of the maneuverings that are going on, especially with the Electoral Commission, it tells you something about to happen. As to when, it's either that, or if I had to say in local way, they may be tricking the people to see the reaction, you know, what's gonna happen. But if I look at that election itself, it looks like something's about to happen.
Okay.
You can call it another pants down situation.
When was the last election?
22.
Almost 3 years ago. This year we give it 3 years.
3 years ago.
All right, so we still have 2 more years where it can be. So okay.
Yeah, but right now and so we don't really have the 5 years. We can call it whenever we want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
And
you
that's
see how
all.
that goes?
I think.
But
I
no,
think
go ahead.
now it's. I was saying. I think that's where, you know, I think we or the people or the other parties miss sometimes, because although it's supposed to be constitutionally called in 5 years, or they can go up to like 5.5 or something like that. I can't remember. I get no.
Yeah.
But always be prepared. But
Always be prepared. Always.
we get into the situation where people talk, go wrong, go wrong, go wrong. They don't have their numbers. They're not doing their canvassing. They're on the radio, on media, but they're not on the ground doing their door to door. And then, bam, the guy decided he called his election in 30 days, and everybody, to your point, say we catch up with their pants down. But the man says since May, he was gonna call the election. So if he call it and he says tomorrow, it shouldn't be a surprise, because it's already overdue.
But I have a problem here now. I have a problem. My problem is the new rules or the reconfirmation of the voters. Now I have the documentation on the process, where you're supposed to have either a Dominica passport, a driver's license, a social security card, or an affidavit of proof of birth signed by a justice of peace. That was approved in Parliament in May 19th. And then there was an amendment made in what day was that? Yeah, I have the date, I can't remember the date off my head right now, and I can't find it in my document. Where they removed the Electoral Commissioner office, removed the affidavit of proof of birth signed by the Justice of Peace. They removed that. So it now, in my opinion, it has put a strain on certain people who cannot or who don't have the who don't have that either a job, a driver's license, or a valid passport. Because a passport is $120. How many people in Dominica of past 50 years of age? Some of them don't have their passport. Some of them don't even have the income to go and buy it. They spend the $120 to buy a passport. So does that disenfranchise a lot of people? That's my question to the panel tonight.
Yeah.
Well, I can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, basically, let me put it this way. You see, if some people used to listen, they would not be in that position now. Because all along, we had already heard, now that is, up in the air, but we had heard that the government side was letting, the first place we heard that was in Vegas, where they, allegedly, where they alleged that people were getting their passports done at a quick pace. And by the tens and maybe by the hundreds, we didn't have a passport. So at this point, I'm not agreeing with a lot of the things that are going on, but at this point, this is the situation. They would have always found a way. They would have always found a loophole to see how they could stop it. So when you really watch it, you have a lot of people for real. Even in Wesley, they do not have a passport. They do not have a driver's license, and they do not have a social security card. But those people are on the original list. Those people are people who voted for the longest while. So
my question again is, does that put them at a disenfranchisement stage because
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
so then now again now does that put the onus on some of the political parties who want to get in power to get their people passports or social security cards or driver's licenses or some form of identification to get enfranchised
Yeah, but
because
the point is, we're still there trying to handle it on a party basis. You listen to Joshua Francis? Joshua Francis keeps saying the only way we can address the issue in Dominica is to join all forces together.
Right. At the end of
But
the day,
what are they doing? They're still there wasting time trying to do it by themselves. I don't want UWP, trying to see they can solve. No, they cannot solve it like that. You see, you need to have a consensus in Dominica where the people have to come out and say, this is nonsense. I mean, how the hell I could be how I could have voted maybe 4 or 5 times already. And all of a sudden, because of poverty, I don't have those things. And then you're telling me I cannot vote as to whether I'm a liberal or not. No, wait,
well,
it left to be seen what's going to happen because why I think that will happen. Them guys going to use that and make sure all liberals in Wesley get their passport.
let Keskin go ahead first before you continue that statement you're about to make this.
Yeah.
yeah. So I think at the end of the day, not I think. I mean, the reality is any type of rule, measure, or structure you add to the voting process is going to disenfranchise some people. Even here in the States, it's a whole big thing for voter IDs. Of course, the Republicans are against for voter IDs. Democrats are against it because, of course, poor people don't. A lot of them don't have updated IDs or so on and can't afford it. And it all comes down to the next thing, which is strategy. I like what Clinton said a while ago because what we have a history of doing is going on the radio and complaining and talking instead of sitting down, coming up with a strategy and working the strategy. We use an example. So, and it's in reference to what Clint was saying. Instead of coming to the West and having a whole protest against the airport and so on, a better thing would have been to come to Wesley with a group of lawyers and say, hey, let me help all the people of Wesley who need to have a probate, who need to get their legal paperwork together. We are here for you and we are here to help the people. Not party or anything, just come under the pretense, or whether it's pretense or not, that you're there for the people and go with that as a national, with a whole thing, and you're helping the people. In the meanwhile, you're probably trying to get them, of course, to come over
your
to
vote. Yes, that's right.
But you're not openly against something that seems, whether we're not sure what are happening or not, but it seems like it's an investment for the village, and it seems you automatically going against party lines with that strategy when you say, hey, I'm going to protest against this. To Clint's point, hey, perfect time for the opposition to come up with a strategy and say, hey, we're going to help everybody get this together or get that together or whatever. But instead, the strategy that they've used, the opposition seems to have been using for the last 25 years, agitate, talk, march on Wesley through, on Western Rose or whatever, wherever. And then does that actually turn into actual results? Do they ever sit down and do a postmortem and say, hey, we do all of this, or this is the same strategy we've been doing for 25 years now? Like, is that getting a result? At what point we're going to say that, hey, we don't have the numbers, so in order for us to win, we have to convince other people to come over to us. And for us to convince them to come over to us, it has to be subtle. It cannot be hey, your PM is a bobolis, your PM this and that and that and that. You need to sit down and help people, you know, because of course Dominica have the how you call it, this mentality that I don't like to call nobody ungrateful. Nobody don't call me ungrateful. So as soon as you help them, they see it as you know, they have a sense of loyalty to you.
Loyalty towards you, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, Labour Party uses that. It's our culture. Why not sit down and come up with a strategy and do that instead? But instead, the whole thing is consistently being against and opposing and just talking instead of coming up with an actual strategy. You know, so yeah.
A comment came in exactly. Instead it was better to them to protest, thinking protest will make a difference to the life of the people.
And that's the big thing. When you stop focusing on one man, and you start focusing on the people and how you can look at the situation and help the general populace, then you'll make a difference. If all of your conversation is about how much you hate somebody or how much you're trying to bring that down that person, you know, at the end of the day, you're not focusing on the real meat of what is issue. You know, that's one person. Yeah, that's one vote. You know, focus at the end of the day on what the majority of the people feeling, what their needs are, and how you can help them, and then you can make a difference. But instead, you just want to focus on one person. You're focusing on the same person for 25 years now. There's nothing you can say tomorrow that you haven't said in the last 25 years. You can say, Bob Wallace another 100,000 times.
It doesn't change this fact.
You say it one more time, you think somebody else going to hear it? You know? You say thief how much times? Oh, they selling passport. You say that don't go. You say it again. Okay, say it again. What difference it make? You know? At the end of the day, you come up with a flipping strategy where you're helping people and you take your focus off that single person, that single individual, and you focus on the needs of the people. And there you will see the difference.
And probably even get their single individual to combat that one individual, because some of the people that they put in to combat this individual doesn't match up.
Yeah.
You put in a square peg in a wrong hole. It's not going to work. So you have it's all about aesthetics. People of Dominica don't necessarily vote for instance, for a parliamentary representative. The people of Dominica voting for the leader of the country. It's almost like almost like American politics. They're not voting for the parliament rep. They're voting for Skerrit, or they're voting for Thompson Fontaine, or they're voting for somebody that they seem that will affect their lives. But when you keep putting people that's not attracting the people, that's not pulling people towards your cause, you will never get a chance. And Keskim and I had a conversation earlier today, and he told me this idea that unless the people of Dominica want change, there will never be change.
Exactly. We have elections. We'll have elections. So if the Dominica Labour Party continually wins elections, in the minds of the Dominica people, that is the best choice that they have. And then when you truly look at the other options out there, which one of these parties look like they truly have strategy and they truly sit down and coming up with a plan that they're rolling out to people and they're focusing on the needs of the people? Like who the hell not tired of just hearing the same old nonsense on the radio every single day? Like how many times you can say it for you to try to change my mind? No, sit down, focus. You know, right now, like who has their manifesto launched? Who has their manifesto? The election was supposed to be in May. It was supposed to be in May. You know, they tell you it was supposed to be in May. And you will wait now until they call it 30 days before you run and get somebody to do something on AI and copy and paste, or maybe take something from St. Lucia or St. Vincent and put it into your manifesto and try to launch it quickly. Like as if, like, you know, at the end of the day, that shows a lack of respect for the Dominican people.
The people, yeah. Exactly. It shows a lack of respect, a lack of preparation, and it makes it seem like you want to take out the cancer, but you want to replace that cancer with a next cancer that's gonna kill us even faster. So the mindset of the people have to change, and our leaders, our aspiring leaders, and our leaders' mindset have to change.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Peter, with your comment on that, and then we'll move on to the next topic.
All right, basically, my comment on that basically is not really different from what you guys saying. Is what you're saying is actually, the reality of the situation or the actuality of the situation is actually happening. If we have had a better show of opposition, then probably elections would say it's different. Although persons would want to say the elections is stolen, whatever, I no guarantee that the choice of the Dominican people is in the ballot box. And if an opposition wants to effect that change to show us differently, we can't expect. I mean, and as you guys say the exact same thing. I'm thinking, using the same strategies, shouting. Nobody has, used a different strategy to show us they can do better. I was thinking along the lines, Thompson Falcon is an economist. Why hasn't Thompson Falcon put a proposal together and work alongside the government to show his
skill set,
his competency, even so to say? So it's just those little things that seem very strange, but that is what we need. We need Dominica to be the center focus of these people.
But that's the issue. Is Dominica is not the center focus. The center focus is one man. One man who tried to take them for 25 years now. That's the main focus.
Go ahead, Clint.
Yeah, but see, here lies the problem. We 25 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in a conversation with them guys, and we still use the same old song from Dice, and we still find it in ourselves to complain every day. And for some reason, when people like me open my mouth and say, we need to start thinking like a boss man on the other side. Some people tell me I don't know politics. You ever hear him complain yet about his party? He don't complain.
Exactly.
Whenever something happens, he try to correct it in-house.
Mm-hmm.
So I would want to think, because I keep telling, in the last year or two, I keep telling them people, the main opposition party needs to be financed properly. That is one of the key things. If it's in back door, they have to bring in the money, bring it in back door. But yes, but I just flat out thinking the way Roosevelt does think. He just think like that. He's a critical thinker. Yes, I know that too, but he's also a reckless thinker. So sometimes you have to step out of the box and almost see yourself like him to correct a problem.
And
yes,
I know, because
something like that, But no, because I'll tell you why. Because people seem to gravitate to certain things that he does. Now, as the opposition, you're gonna need it. Even if not a whole 100% to him, but maybe you need to do something that looking similar to what they're doing. So people can say, okay, look like UWP or APP or Team Unity means something. Let me listen to hear what they're coming with. Listen. Not let me follow, let me listen to them, because the actions showing something similar to what the Labour Party have. The same thing what Keskim saying. No, the man really educated, yes. But why else now?
Yeah. What I was gonna tell you, Clint, you don't, when we forget our past, that's a shit that's happened to us. I can't remember how many years Labour Party had stayed in opposition. But while in opposition, some of the best looking manifestos I ever saw came from the Dominica Labour Party. From I think at that time, the British government or whoever the Labour Party in England used to do.
This guy again, it was the same Tony Blair was part of that that government. Yeah, but there was another guy, I keep forgetting his name. But Tony Blair was part of it.
Yeah. Then you had the opposition back then, having sending people to study. My auntie them and Auntie Brenda them, Smiley them, all those people who studied in Guyana and all that. That was back with Dominica Labour Party. All those that were going to Cuba before Dominica were just sending people to Cuba like that. That was from the opposition.
From Ruzi Douglas and his
You
brother
know,
Mike.
in opposition, you know.
Mhm.
But these days we have this mindset that only the government can actually do things. Persons seem to think they're powerless, but you are only powerless if you want to make yourself powerless. You maybe just lazy. You think you're powerless, or you may be just lazy. You know, at the end of the day, you fly to different countries, you find people who are sympathetic to your cause, and then you raise the money that way. You don't have to bring it in back though. There's ways and means of doing stuff. What do you think we both were bouncing back and forth between Taiwan and China? You know, why Canada was helping one time, why Gaddafi was building schools and roads in Dominica. Like you align yourself to somebody that's gonna support your cause and have them fund whatever.
But watch that. You don't even have to align yourself with nobody, you know. You can use your same diaspora and people you just reach out to whenever your leaders get in trouble. And you raise your funds to help them out of trouble. Use that same form of method to raise funds to help your party.
But yourself, Richie, wicked. After them people paying all their money there for the lawsuit, you still well, they're gonna end up having money to raise funds when they have to pay for them out every time instead of saying allege. You know, you have.
But I have an issue.
Every minute you call it and ask for $5 to read yourself to pay for your mouth. Anyway. Go ahead.
But I have an issue, you know. I have an issue because I was relating that same sentiment to some young men the other day. Where I told them it's true that we need a change. It's true we have one party in power for so long that is not a good thing for a democratic country. In any case, so everybody was like, "Okay, so the next option in GWP." I said, "No, I cannot say that confidently." Then they said, "I'm a hypocrite." I say, "You can't say that. What we have is bad, but what we have on the other side is still is not even there." Then I couldn't understand that kind of a mindset.
Exactly.
So I really need the people to understand that as well. You know, you need to demand better from even our oppositions. Yes, we fed up or whatever the case may be. But what you put in after that come out there as well.
That is a case that I haven't heard made. There are a couple of times I've been excited about certain things I hear, but I'm waiting for the full-on plan. I'm waiting for the full strategy. Yeah, you know, and I don't see that better because like you can tell me, you know, the house I living in is bad and it's leaking and this and that and I need to move out of there. But if I don't have somewhere else to go, but I will take my little pot and pan them and catch water.
Yeah,
I collect water still until I have a better place to go. If you tell me you have somewhere else for me to go, even if it's a picture you show me, you know, and you can convince me that, hey, if you just need to cross the street there, and that is a better option for you, then I might take the chance. But you just want to tell me my house leaking. I know my house leaking, Boji. You know, it's me that to put this, me that to deal with the water inside of there. You know, I know my house leaking. But you cannot provide a viable alternative, you know, and that is sad. And it still comes down to what we as a people expect of our politicians, because your parties and your government is a reflection of the people, right? So until we reach our standard and decide we want more, we want different, we will get what we have and we'll have what we get. You know, that's just the way it is.
So so there's a comment that came in here now. There's a deeper level to the conversation. The people seek out the party / distraction culture because it's easier to forget than to confront the emptiness of the situation.
The emptiness of it. Okay.
The emptiness of the situation, sorry. No, I gonna agree to disagree with these persons and their comments at the same time, because the distractions are given to like you said, to distract you. So a party is I did a whole write-up on that as well, and already, you know. They give you parties to take your mind because it's an endorphins in your brain that they take in. They say them people frustrated, get them a job. You know? And then now also we've noticed a decline even in the community parties. People don't go. People hardly going. The party that came up in November, a lot of diasporans and a lot of people come because that's what the people come for. But nowadays, I saw a party the other day in Salisbury. Triple K was there, and maybe if it had 10 people in the place, it had plenty. You get what I'm saying? So I even think the people are them fed up with the party, but they need an option for them to stop going to that. They need an option for them to choose and say, well, yeah, it's time for a change. But when you're not giving them a positive, wow, why is the word no boy?
Option, I
Oh
guess.
yeah, positive option,
Alternative.
an alternative, they will stick to what they know.
Yeah.
They will
And
stick to
that's
what they
and that was my big issue last election. Okay, we're gonna stop this day one, we're gonna stop that day one, we're gonna stop all the this we giving people and so on. Okay, fine, yes, because we might say, yeah, that's socialist initiatives and so on. But don't tell me you're gonna stop my $500 a week and you cannot tell me what you're going to give me in the
give me to
meantime.
replace it.
What nonsense you telling me?
I
You know?
think one of UWP's biggest blunder was not participating in the last election.
Yeah.
You think that is a you think that's
That
the
is
biggest?
true. That is true because night before
Yeah.
last night we had that conversation. That is totally true. What really happened there? They created, well, or we can still say you may have a change of things down the stretch, but they created another option.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have a situation in Dominica. I'll be very fair. You have a situation in Dominica now where the young people, and I don't know if it's that why you see they have this new thing about the registration where they don't really want to, not they don't really. I was just listening to it on Lofty Duran, where they're not interested in the first time voters. So you may not see a first time voter in this election. You
Exactly.
understand? So
Exactly.
so 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 I'll tell you, but there's a trend in Dominica now, and the UWP trying to do like they don't understand it, but they know. Guess young people now telling you that the party structure, the Labour and the UWP and the Freedom, they don't feel in that. They want to try something different. And that is a fact on the ground. If you go out on the ground, well, maybe they're not going nowhere, maybe they're talking to people. But if you went on the ground and I listen to them young people talking, they tell you that. They tell that straight up. They're not willing to vote for Labour again. But you hear that there? We don't willing to vote for Labour again. But you don't really self, they don't position themselves properly, and they have the negative connotations for that. And they're telling you straight up, we want to try something different. And that is not a Wesley constituency thing alone.
No, it's an all over island thing.
It's all over. If you go Portsmouth, it's the same thing.
And not just the young, the old as well.
Yeah.
Not just the young people, the old people, the second time vote. Some of the second time voters say they're not even gonna reconfirm because why? They're not into the mindset, and that's why I did
They're doing that.
that's why I did the video the other day asking, are the young people even interested in politics anymore? Yes, you might have a young demographic in parliament, but the people on the ground that's been affected by the politics, are they even interested in this thing anymore? Because
But you should be on the ground and listen that.
Yeah.
they,
The
they don't have a voice.
for somebody who is about 30 years old, 30 to maybe 35, 30 under there. The only thing they know is Dominica Labour Party, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you're in a situation. If you were your family, and because we're very tribal in the way we support parties in Dominica. So if your family and so on, you grow up and they always will labor rights and so on, you fall into that line. And maybe you're not getting necessarily what you want, but hey, whoever wants to align themselves to a losing party, for those who thinks they're young, all they know is be losing, saying the same thing over year and losing. that doesn't
So,
give the impetus to want to go over. It doesn't seem attractive to you. So you get to the point where sometimes you feel like, boy, I'm not getting what I want from the government. Them fellas on the other side, they're looking like they're not even serious. So better I just stay out of that comments, because does my vote really have
I see.
have a say? You know, because either I vote for what is still there, or I vote for something that look like it disorganized and they don't know what they're doing. And they, even if I would give them a chance, chances are they losing, because they've been losing for the last 25 years. So what's the point? And that's a sad place to be, because then you don't have change. When people get kind of indifferent and they feel like they don't have a say, an option, and so on, they just become passive. Yeah, that's a sad place to be.
I honestly believe, I thought about it a million times already, and I'll always continue to say, the Prime Minister is somebody from life, my lifetime. You understand? We are the same age, so our thought process will be pretty much the same. And I'll tell you, I often tell myself, if you notice what happened in the last election, after the election, you realize he called a meeting with the independents. Right. This time around, they are going to be independent candidates, but they have more time to work. So something tells me he is aware of the fact that even his own candidates and them up to lose. We're not saying it's bound to be that, but there's a possibility, because so maybe that's the reason why they're now pushing a new vibe where they're not so interested in young people voting or registering. That would be a way to break the back or the independent move. But I just fall short of saying what I really wanted to say. What I really want to say is, I kind of get the feeling that they would be forceful in the campaign, but they would be sympathetic to the independent, with the intention that if they fall through and they need a coalition, they would rather to go towards the independent for the coalition than anything else. And that might be a strategy. I may be thinking too far, or too right, I don't know, but I just thinking, So it's something people have to pay attention to.
That is always a strong strategy for an independent candidate to have, to be able to say, hey, no matter who, if I win, no matter who is in there, I intend to
work with them,
with whoever is in there, and I intend to align myself to whoever can deliver for my people. But we end up in a situation where we have some independent candidates, although they carry the brand independent. You listen to them and you can tell they either anti this or anti that, or they're against this or against that. Again, in my opinion, the independent strategy needs to be, hey, I'm not Labour. I'm not UWP. I am, in terms of Wesley, I am for the Wesley constituency. And so the things I am trying to do is for Wesley. And at the end of the day, if UWP wins and at the end of the day I win and I can influence them to deliver for Wesley, I'll do that. If Labour wins, the expectation is that I'm going to go in there and I'm going to fight as hard as I can for my people of Wesley, But you have to be careful in your campaign, because then you definitely need to be balanced, because you cannot say you're independent and then your strategy and your conversation come out like you lean in one way or the other.
Or the other, yeah.
And then people will just see you for what you are, leaning one way, or you are this person or that person. The people who are truly, like, I think one of the reasons why Anthony was this successful is because Anthony and his entire family were Laborites, and the fact that he left and decided he wanted to do something independent, and people know that he truly left, he picked up, of course, some Laborites with him. And then, of course, he picked up some workers' persons with him as well because of that, because of leaving the Dominica, the perception of leaving the Dominica Labour Party, and him coming out right and say, "Hey, after elections, I don't care which one of I want to win, I'm not going to cross." You know, I remember he had signed something and came out and said that whole thing. So it sort of gave a level of credibility to him, because we also have that too, where, to your point earlier, Labour Party always is always about the strategy. And if they can look at somebody that feels like, hey, be square on that person, or that person seems ambitious, and we can get that person on our team, we want that person. They're always thinking about that strategy. So if others are trying to think that way, that is them. But of course, they're looking at the independent candidates, and they're looking at the opposition too. And if there's somebody of value, or somebody that ambitious enough to come over, that want to come over, pull their skin over.
So this coming, we are anti-corruption and cannot use the parliament to shield anyone from the consequences of corruption during their tenure. That is that the people desire to confront, and we should not apologize for assuming this posture. But all right, so we beat up on that topic there. I wanted to talk about the war that is going on in the Caribbean, a proposed war, alleged war.
Yeah, war going on in the Caribbean, Reggie.
Alleged war that is going on in the Caribbean before they arrest me. The alleged war in Venezuela, between Venezuela and the US. As an Alba nation in CARICOM, or as a CARICOM Alba constituents or nation, I think Dominica should have lent their voice and let their voice be heard in that. Either they stand for it or against the war. What are your thoughts?
No, they got up in a rock and a hard place.
Okay. Yes, Kim.
I think CARICOM, I don't think Dominica should have spoken. I think CARICOM needs to speak. And I think that's the whole problem, where we're looking for individual countries to make a statement. I think CARICOM should come out forcefully and make a statement as CARICOM. But apart from that, not just CARICOM, we still have dependencies in the Caribbean. What the hell is the French government saying about this? What is the Commonwealth of Nations, the British government saying about this? Dutch, the Spanish government, because all of their dependencies are still in the Caribbean.
Still in the Caribbean. Go ahead,
But
Peter.
the last news I heard is that the French are sending military support to Martinique and Guadeloupe. So the French is really taking part in it. They sending
Troops
the
up.
French Navy, I think, is in our waters already. But I was like about 2 weeks ago, But they're always there, because when you're traveling from Dominica to Antigua, you usually see the submarines and the battleship and them between Baragalan area there. They're always there. But then they activate it.
Yeah.
So it's like they're ready for a situation. As to whether it's gonna happen in reality, I don't know. The only thing is, what I have to say about that is, there's a reason why CARICOM cannot speak as an influential bloc or a positive bloc, is because all the governments in CARICOM seem to be going haywire on their own behalf.
Yeah.
So now it becomes a problem. If I go against Alba, then I stand to lose my benefits from Venezuela. If I go against the US, then I stand to lose, certain type of postures we have, or agreements, or whatever treaty or whatever we have with the US. It's gonna put our people in a problem. We have people from Dominica living in the US. We're going to travel back and forth, and we don't know what kind of issue gonna come up there. So CARICOM is pretty much crippled when it comes to that.
Yeah.
That's just,
Peter, go ahead with
I
your
what I gotta say is, I agree that everybody's saying that everybody outside of CARICOM doing what they have to do, but we have to understand that CARICOM was made for that unitedness or unity kind of front. So I believe CARICOM should pull its leaders together, decide on what they're doing, and speak on it as the Caribbean, as the
Yep.
nations of the Caribbean. They should do that because whenever you're dealing with that kind of a level of force, numbers will turn heads.
Yeah.
Individual talking here, I don't think that would make much sense, but numbers will turn heads. So if the CARICOM committee, I should say, step in and say, well, we do not like this or we do not condone this and whatever, then that could make a difference in some way, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, here lies the problem, Fido. The problem is if CARICOM had go into agreements with Venezuela and Alba, I could understand. But look at it. How many countries in the
I
Caribbean to
ethics
Alba?
when it comes to, yeah, but then so okay, so then what would they say then? In your
The
opinion, what
point,
would,
no,
if
no, the
CARICOM
point.
have to say something, what would they say?
That's what I'm saying. The point is the governments in the Caribbean never went towards Venezuela as a total bloc, let's say a CARICOM bloc or OECS bloc. No, they didn't do that. They went individually, but at the same time, they are the ones that make up CARICOM. So this is where it causing a problem now. They cannot
Okay.
now come as
as
a
a
total
block.
block now, to try to make a move. So
Yeah.
we can just say CARICOM is a broken up situation.
On that topic,
Yeah.
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 Because at the end of the day, like that it's straight up bully vibes are going on. Because there's no way America will go outside the waters, outside Russia, and do that. They're not even gonna go even in the international waters outside Russia. They wouldn't do it in international waters outside China. There's a reason specifically why they're doing it there. Of course, they want Maduro out. They want the opposition leader in. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the
In the
In
world
the
right now.
world.
in the world. So I mean, we talking about fentanyl and drugs. The most of the cocaine from the world comes from Colombia, not Venezuela. Most of the fentanyl that goes to America and then produced in the world, it comes from Mexico
Or Canada.
and Canada, and not
Venezuela.
Venezuela. If we truly talking about the Venezuelan people suffering, the Haitians suffering more, the people in Sudan suffering more, the people in Gaza suffering more. So it's not a matter of you want to help the people either. There's some ulterior motive of whatever you want. And in terms of Alba more was based more on an economic partnership, especially for energy. So it was about oil and gas and that kind of. It was more economic. This vibes right here is sovereignty. So the block, whether it's OECS or CARICOM, those would be the ones to speak. But to your point, they're not on the same page. They're all selfish because Trinidad saying, "Hey, we are the ATM or the Caribbean. Everybody, they just want us a part of them, so they can get money from us, like as if they extra rich for that, you know." And then there's just a lack of unity in the whole vibe, and everybody not on the same page because America signs different treaties with all kind of different countries. They still have treaties with China. They have treaties with flipping Canada.
With
They
Russia. They have treaties everywhere.
yeah, because you have multiple treaties and multiple things, that doesn't mean you cannot operate outside that. We're still a part of OAS, right? I think the
Organization of the United States.
Americans is like so. That doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, when you're talking about sovereignty, like they need to get it together and sit down and come up with a plan. And I think most of them are actually aligned against what Kamala is trying to do. Because yes, she might get that oil deal she's trying to get for
Build one or two schools and train their military.
and get a little pittance. But for too long, we've been satisfied with pittance and satisfied with it's the same thing almost. Like we satisfied by getting crumbs, and we will sell our flipping soul for a few crumbs, and don't look at what the implications are a few years down, or the fact that we give these people this permission now, and then once they do it once, they'll do it again.
They'll do it again. Yeah.
Because
Coming in. The
the
situation just
last
exposed.
time they came into our waters like that, we had to give them permission. You know that when Mamu was flying back and forth to talk to Reagan,
Reagan about
when she gave them permission to go into Grenada. And at that time they had the support of CARICOM. But then at that time too, Mamu wasn't fooling around, and the leaders of the Caribbean were truly like
united.
United.
On one word, yeah.
I don't know what has happened since, but I don't get that same feeling.
Let me tell you what happened now. What happened now is that our leaders have become greedy, and they all for sell. They want to fill their pockets, forget about their people, and is a show for showmanship. Who can be the best showman? Who can take the best pictures? Who have the most money in their pocket? Who can give the best speeches? And this comment I want to get to. The situation has exposed the years of lip service that has been in CARICOM. Had the work been done, we would have ended the mass exodus of Caribbean nations to the US and have made more significant strides as a unified bloc. Hate America for what it is, but the state of the union is strong.
Yeah,
and
I agree that. I agree with that. Like, you know, on individually, look at people like I was laughing at that the other day. Look at states. Some states don't even have 500,000 people. Well, they have a little over 500, 600,000 people. They don't even have, some states don't even have 1 million people. Then you have states like Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, generally. So a bunch of states that suck the life out of the economy of America, right? Then you have the major states like California, New York, and a bunch of others that actually contribute. But their union is strong because of the way it's set up and the fact that it's one block. So that's my problem with Trinidad. Of course, you will always have some states that are poorer and some states that have less, that like Louisiana. All these states are at the bottom of the education spectrum. They're at the bottom of it when it comes to GDP. You know, they are the bottom when it comes to crime and all of that. But they're still a part of the union and they still add value in their own way. You know, so you can't just look at it selfishly as, oh, okay, I have a little more wealth than those, but so I don't want to associate myself with that. No, we're stronger because together, and they don't see that. You know,
that is the problem. They see it for a selfish purpose. But my people, let us give our closing remarks. We're gonna start with Keskim on his closing, and then we're gonna go to Clint, Fido, and then myself. And then I'll go first, and then Fido will go after.
It was. I've been talking to you for a while, but it was good just chatting, man. So I appreciate it, and Clint, good luck on your journey. I know, you know, for any independent candidate, things are rough because we have a two-party system, you know, and generally it's one or the other. So, but hey, good luck on your journey, and even for you, Kado, I see you doing your thing, man. So I can't believe you're out there as a media person now and doing all of that. I look at your graphics and so on. I remember when you first started out a few years ago, 2 years ago or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, that's what it's all about, man. Growth, development, you know, getting better and better every day. Yeah. Pedro, I hear you sometimes and I check, oh shit. Yeah, the man really thinks about stuff and so on. So it's just good to see people exchanging ideas and learning from each other and truly doing the research and to get better, man. So yeah.
Thank you. Clint.
Yeah, well, this week was really interesting. Sunday was interesting. Thursday was interesting. But the weekend was because, you know, a lot of people would either call or send a message or something. So it was, you know, it was kind of like, yeah, something different. People like the tempo, I think people rather made that way than being, I would say that, really graphic. I know it can be graphic sometimes, but I kind of think the people are really feeling that that's not what they want to hear. They want to hear something a little different. So yeah, so we had to change the narrative a little bit. So I don't want to keep it a little bit. I just want to change the whole vibration. I'm pretty much aware of the two-party system, but like we said earlier, United Workers Party didn't take part in the election the last time, and it created something else. And it just happened that I'm a part of that something else. So we'll see where that goes. The thing is, all I have to do is be at it. I mean, I always was at it, so it's not like anything different now. I do the same thing, every week. I meet the same set of people. So the conversation, we had to keep it smart. And that's it. Yeah, that's it basically. So I'll see where I go with that. So far, so good.
All right. There, before we continue, there might be a tropical storm or tropical something affecting Dominica for the next 24 hours. Might be a lot of rain. So, to my people, be careful. Lock your doors up. Make sure you got adequate water or supplies. Remember, we're still in the hurricane season, so you cannot negate that fact. But anyways, though, I would like to say that to my people of Dominica, to the Caribbean, the people who listen, we are in some times where we have to be focused. Make informed decisions. People, there's an ample research on Facebook, not on Facebook, on the internet, ample research all around. Google, ChatGPT, Facebook. Go and do your research. Be informed. Inform yourself. Look at the legislations that are being passed in your parliament. Know them, because I was part of the misinformation, and I'm trying to get myself informed. That's why I'm doing this platform here now, is to give information out and formulate my own opinion and make you form your own opinion. Because trust and believe in me, you don't want to be left without the information. It is vital. It's key information that is out there for us to get, and we need to get it. So be informed. Get yourself informed.
Yes, man. I myself, I just wanted to just thank everybody to coming out there on the live stream. We appreciate you, all our viewers, all our commenters. Mr. Shillingford, I want to thank you for coming on the Carlos Media. It was good exchanging thoughts with you. Mr. Roll is always there with us, and we just want you to keep doing what you're doing for the independent scene, because it is needed. And yeah, man, don't blame the messenger. We gone.
Well, this is Carlos Media, and yeah, don't blame the messenger. Yeah.